Erin,
Hey.
welcome to episode 9 of Let's Talk Short Track. Um, 7 o'clock Eastern Time here at the studio at the GTR Ranch and Race Shop. So we had did you have a good week?
Yeah,
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 but,
pretty relaxing.
yeah,
Not much
yeah.
traveling.
We did a little bit. We were hoping to go to the Cordial race to the Cars Tour, but we had a few things come up that we
Yep.
couldn't get to, personal stuff that we had to deal with here at the shop. We did go out testing though on the new car,
Oh
which was
yeah,
successful. Yeah,
good.
yeah. No, we were really happy with that, and I think we're just about ready with our. I would say we're probably a week and a half away from the other pro being done here at the ranch. But we have a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, it was a busy weekend in racing.
Yeah, yeah. Up home even, up at Dells Raceway Park in
Yeah,
Wisconsin was
it
they
was their
finally,
opening
yeah,
weekend, wasn't it?
icebreaker, and the icebreaker is almost like if you hit it with weather, it's a success. If you hit it with weather,
Because it can still be pretty cold,
yeah,
rainy, snowy up there this
you
time
could
of year
be
too.
68 degrees and sunny to next day it's snowing and 3 inches of snow.
Yeah, that's why I live in Florida and won't leave.
So we have a guest on. He'll be on here at 7:15, and
Yeah.
he's a supermod racer, John, and
Yes.
yeah, I'll murder his last name. How do you say his last name?
I've been getting
Nicotra?
yeah.
Is that
I think that's close. I'm
Nic-
pretty sure.
Sorry, John, if we butchered your name.
Yeah.
No, we're going to have John on. He's got a lot to talk about. He was successful in the super modifieds, which,
Yeah.
like I said, having some of our guests, understanding the super mods, the short track racing, mostly up in the Northeast.
Yeah.
But and John is from both, I think, here from Florida and New York. The way it sounds, he must
I
travel
believe so,
back and
yeah.
forth. He's got business down here, and actually, it sounds like he's almost trying to retire and just do his
Just
passion.
race for
Yeah,
fun, yeah.
yeah. So you got
Some
kind of the
results.
rundown, the
Yep.
results on this last weekend.
Yeah, so starting off was Friday night at Five Flags with the Blizzard Series and Southern Super Series, where Cole Butcher won and Carson Brown was second, with Jackson Boone finishing out the top three.
Jeez, Butcher is just
He's on fire.
he's on fire right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's getting it done. Last three? That's his third win
Yeah, I
in a row.
believe so, in
Yeah,
a
wow,
row, yeah.
that's
And
getting.
then at Mobile, he did not win, but he did finish second. Or no, no. Yeah, Cole Butcher did finish second. Bubba Pollard actually won there at Mobile International Speedway, with Matt Craig rounding out the top three there.
Yeah, so got young gun Cole against the two veterans.
Yeah,
I mean, Cole's getting to be a
a
veteran,
veteran.
and
Yeah,
he's
he's been
raced.
around.
Yeah, he's been around a while now. Yeah, so that's awesome.
And then also Saturday night was the Cars Tour race at Cordial.
Yep.
And in the late model stocks, you had Connor Hall win it with Minnie Tyrell second and Landon Huffman third.
Yeah.
That was a good race.
It was. I actually watched that race on YouTube. I think is when I watched it. Or no, I did watch it on.
Flo?
Yeah, I think it was Flow. That's what they had it. But yeah, that was a good race actually,
Yeah.
because I like the pros and the pro
Pros
race.
and-
The first part of it went well, and then the second part they were getting a little shady.
Yeah, it was an interesting one towards the end there. Yeah, so the pro lates, who won that one? We had Tristan McKee won
Yep.
it, and then Colin Allman, a local here in
Yeah,
Florida.
yep.
He had a really good finish, finishing second, and then Jet Nolan finishing third.
Yeah, yeah. And Colin and I mean that's their home track, but Colin's actually been running really well. He
Yeah.
ended up second at the Radler.
Yeah,
So
yeah, he's had a really good
Yeah.
2025 season
and
so
that's
far.
a super. That was a super over there. Now he's in his pro. So it's him and his dad, and they're
Yeah,
a
small team.
small team. I think that's awesome. They're
Yeah.
good people too. I mean, they're as far as short track racers, like what what
They're
short
the
track racing.
straight image of what you think of.
Yeah. Yep. Work every day making them races and
Yeah,
that
and have everyday
yeah.
regular jobs too.
Yeah.
And then locally, we had Citrus County
Yep.
Speedway Racing. They had twin 50s, and former guest on the podcast, Bray Holmes, swept
Yeah.
the weekend there.
Yeah.
So good for him.
I watched that race too. I watched the review. There's some let's just call it some drama at the
Yeah.
at the local short
Some
track.
normal short track
Yeah.
racing.
Yeah, Bray, and it's fun. Bray's a good kid, and
Yeah.
his excitement in short track racing, and same thing, another family, just
Yeah.
locally. But man, they were rough on each other there, and
Yeah.
and I said, So we went down south, just spent time with the family, and I remember seeing the moon on Saturday night coming back, and
It
I
was
said,
crazy.
"Oh no," because
I'm glad
anytime,
we're not
yeah.
racing.
And I remember my buddy that was in the police force used to say, "Man, when the full moon's out,
The phone's ringing.
well, right." So it runs in short track racing too, but
That's what was happening all over, even in Cordele.
yeah,
That's what it
yeah.
was.
We'll just blame the moon. I think everybody's out of balance.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think that's what they call it.
Yeah, that it must be. But anything else on the
Did you want
result?
to go over a little bit about the Dells?
Yeah, I think the Dells. That's my old. I mean, I used to own the Dells, so I
Yeah.
mean, I got hurt in that place. But I love it because you look at short track racing. I just watched a Kenny Wallace podcast saying racing's in Wisconsin is struggling, and I feel like if you take the entire country, I feel like in this, and I'm not biased because I'm a passion. Racing is my passion.
Yeah.
I watch racing all over the country, and I'll tell you what, our weekly racing, we got high car counts up there. And then to see that, where at first they were like, oh man, they're not going to have 15 cars here. They had 30 plus cars. I think they
Wow.
had 33 cars qualify for the super late model event. They had 35 Midwest trucks, and they
Wow.
had 20 some 602 cars. And then it was basically like a sold out crowd. It was packed. I mean, if you watch the video of that race, it was absolutely
The
packed.
weather must have been really nice.
It is. It is like I always say, 60 in Wisconsin in April.
Yeah.
That's like everybody's out in there, they're heading to the beach. That type in Wisconsin. You guys in
And
Florida
we
don't know
will
what
be
that's like.
bundled up. And didn't we have a new track record there this
Yeah,
weekend? In the
Michael
trucks?
Bilderback, probably in all of it. I
Yeah.
bet you in all of it because for sure it was. Michael Bilderback broke the track record in the super late models. I'm not sure who took quick time at the truck. And then the 602 Outlaws went on a new tire. A little bit different. They're on American Racer tires.
Okay.
On the I think they are. I'm pretty sure they are in the 602 class. That's the American Racer's getting bigger in Wisconsin right now. I mean, that's
Okay.
kind of. I mean, Jefferson kind of was leaning on it, but I know the Sportsman or the Pro Late models up there at 3 or 4 tracks are going to the American Racer. Like I said, I'm not biased either way. I like the manufacturer's tires, but the American Racers I'm actually pretty happy with down here on the 10-inch stuff.
Yeah.
And then we like the stuff on the pros up in Wisconsin that Jefferson had. So yeah, it was awesome. I think I seen the success that the Dells had for the opener with the car counts, and like I said, everybody's just itching to get to a track. And I always said this: if you're the first track that opens up and the weather's right, it's going to be a home run no matter which way you look at. Because I've seen that race struggle too with weather.
Yeah, if
So
it's too cold, no one wants to come out and
Yeah.
sit in the cold.
yeah, so, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like now it's going to hit. So next, I think it's not this weekend, but next weekend, Slinger opens with the
Yeah.
All-Star Challenge. Travis and Kelsey, our new track owners at Slinger Speedway.
Yeah.
We're actually heading up there for Easter with
Okay.
my family, and then we're going to be racing at Slinger opener for the All-Star Challenge race. And last year we had 47 cars for that race. So
Wow, that's a great field.
for the Pro Late. So I hope that's a slam dunk for them too. And I feel like it will. I think the new track owner always
Especially
brings
the
a different
excitement
yeah.
and everyone being eager to see the difference.
Yeah, and already the work they've done, right?
Yeah,
I've
because
seen
they
that.
didn't take over that long ago.
Yeah, and they already had the pavers there. They're changing things. They're changing things in the pits, the grandstands. They're moving things around. And I'm hoping we have Travis on next week on Wednesday. We're going to talk to Travis a little bit, and
Yeah.
I've been trying to get a hold of him to make it happen, but I'll just
Been
and I know he's probably
Just
been
a
busier
little
than
bit.
hell. But yeah, no, that'll be a good time for letting people know, and then what their plans on, what their future is. And like I said,
Yeah.
I said this before last week, is the future of racing is from these younger generations of kids.
Yeah.
The future is them. Where are we at in the future? And it's funny because my always saying is like, where are these cars in 15 years?
Yeah.
Where are we at in 15 years? That type thing. But
Yeah.
we got to keep it going. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to going up there. It's been a while.
Getting some cooler weather too.
Yeah, no, it'll be. I don't know. I'm like a pansy now. The other day, me and Max,
blood's already thickened.
me and Max were driving home from the race shop, and we're like, man, I'm chilled up a little bit. I got to wind the window up. It's 84 degrees. I think I turned into a pansy.
Yeah, you can't have another winter up there.
No, I'm not going to like it if it's like 55 degrees now. And I used to say if it's 55 degrees, we're going to the track. If it's above 78, we're not going.
Well,
So
you're
this
in for a
weekend, you got
treat.
plans? What do you got going on?
I don't even know. I don't know. Oh, I do. I'm going to Cordele for a truck race this weekend.
Oh, okay. You guys racing?
Yes. We're not racing. Nick is spotting.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
so
For Garrett?
we'll be up there for, Garrett and the trucks. So that's our Easter plans.
Yeah.
So what about you? You're headed up?
Just
You're
headed
leaving
up.
tomorrow?
We're leaving tomorrow night, and we're gonna drive it all the way through. I think
It's a
I got to
long
get
drive.
through. I at least got to get through Nashville
Yeah.
before the chaos hits for the holiday.
Long weekend.
Yeah, the holiday travel. So after this, we're gonna take a break here, and then after this, we're gonna bring John on and talk about some super modified racing. That'll be cool. I just love the super mods. Now
Yeah.
that we got ours getting back together, it's looking pretty cool over
Oh,
there.
yeah.
And we got a $9,000 powder coat job. Per So I hope we don't scratch it. We're all, But yeah, after these messages, folks, we'll be right back and we'll have John on and let's talk short track.
The Thormeyer Family Christmas to Remember returns to Cindy Road in Lakeland on Fridays through Sundays, November 29th to December 22nd. Explore the stunning walk-through trees and light displays, enjoy beloved Christmas movies, and indulge in delicious festival foods. Meet the Grinch on Fridays and Santa on Saturdays, and pick out your freshly cut Christmas trees from a large variety. A Thormeyer Family Christmas.
And welcome back to the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast. We are here. We have John on the phone.
Hey, John, you got us?
Yes, sir. How you guys doing?
Good, good. First thing we want to ask, how do you pronounce your last name?
Yes.
Nicotra.
Nicotra.
Okay, we didn't do too
So,
bad.
yeah, we didn't murder it
No.
too bad.
No.
Because I was
Some
telling
guys,
everybody.
they go Nicotra, Nicotra, but it is Nicotra.
Nicotra.
Awesome. So John Nicotra, he invented the nicotine patch that. No, just kidding.
Yeah. Bentley Warren calls me Johnny Narcotics.
That's all right. I sell X-ray equipment. Everybody thinks I sell drugs, so I get what that means.
100 years ago, him and Hebron, they started calling me Johnny Narcotics. So Bentley, he's always got a good play on words, man. That guy's the best.
Yeah, that's funny. And John Folks sells green beans, right? Is it?
Yeah.
John's a farmer.
I dabble in the green bean business.
So underneath the green bean trucks, there's narcotics, is what?
Well,
Whatever it takes.
some people thought that there was more in them green bean boxes than it really was, but it was just green beans.
And I think it's funny because at the end of the day, green beans are addictive. Because I think every household in America has a can of green beans in their house. I can guarantee that.
Well, I don't deal with the cans. We do fresh market.
Yeah, there you go.
Like Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, New Year's. Those are big green bean days.
Yes.
Awesome.
And
Yeah,
green
that's
bean
perfect.
casserole.
Yeah, green bean casserole.
Yes.
Love that.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
John, we got our guests on. John, and he's going to talk a little bit about what he's done. He's a super mod driver out of Oswego, New York. And we were talking a little bit earlier, John, and I just want to let people know how you got started in the business. And I loved your story when you talk about your kid, when you were a kid going to the racetrack. So kind of just let
Right.
people know who you are, what you did, and what got you into this.
Well, I was raised about 45 minutes from Oswego Speedway. My dad had a lettuce farm up here in the summertime. And on Saturdays, as a young kid, I started going to Oswego probably 63, I would say, 1963. So it's kind of like when Super Modified first started running at Oswego. I was right there. And as a kid, man, I just fell in love with it. And, the facility at Oswego Speedway, it's made out of steel. And it's just the arena of Oswego Speedway. Almost doesn't matter what kind of cars you're running there. It's just the facility is such a unique facility. And then you add the big block supers to the equation, and it's just unbelievable, just unbelievable. The fans are so close to the track, and the way that Harry Caruso built that track in the late 40s, early 50s, it was just really, really something to see if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I think so I was telling you, I've been there back during an ASA race, and I think what he's saying, folks, is the walls are actually like a steel boiler plate. They're thick, like a thick plate of steel. And I always say, and it has like a fairground feel to it. Like, the bleachers come up, you got a roof on the bleachers that comes out to the track. Yeah. And the echo off this plate, the steel plate back, and it's got like a deep tone. It is. You're exactly right. And when you get the big block super mods out there, they sound badass.
Really, really ridiculous.
Yeah.
Harry Caruso, the Caruso family, they had a steel plant, and I think that back in before my time, I think he was big into the nuclear power plants that are around here in Oswego, and I think half of the loads got misplaced over to the speedway. And I think they built that speedway.
Walls got built.
Speedway. I think the steel came free. But they erected something that's unbelievable, truthfully.
That's awesome. So then you fell in love watching racing at Oswego, and you had to get yourself into it, correct?
Yeah, as a kid, I just loved it, and I moved to Florida, and always in the summer, in the wintertime, I moved to Florida. My dad was in the produce business, and so when I go to Florida, I'd get away from it, and then I'd come back for the summer, and we did that up until like 1969, and then I was, had 3 more years in high school, but at that time we just stayed in Florida. We gave up the farm in the New York farm. We gave it up because we were getting busier and busier. My dad was down in Florida, but we just concentrated on that. So I kind of got away from it for a while, growing up in high school. And I lived in Homestead, Florida, and it's 30 miles from Key Largo. So as a kid growing up in high school, you want to go dating and you want to go out in the boat. So we did the Florida Keys thing, pretty heavy, as a young guy. And I got away from the love of it. But eventually, I think it was around, I kept going to the Classic. I started going to the Classic in 83. And I haven't missed the Classic, knock on wood, since then. But I always went to the International Classic. And eventually, I started doing well in the produce business. And during the summer, we didn't work. So I met Davey Hamilton at the Copper Classic one year. And he was a super modified guy from the West Coast. And I got on the IndyCar circuit with Davey. He eventually got an IndyCar ride. We hung out in Indianapolis. Before he got the IndyCar ride, we did sprint cars and dirt cars. And so I got to know a bunch of guys in the IndyCar circuit. And eventually, when Davey became an IndyCar driver, I was his spotter. Davey and I traveled the country together, and I was his spotter. And I was happy doing that. We were actually living a dream. We had a nice motorhome we traveled in, and it was awesome. But Davey got hurt real bad in 2001 at Texas. He got caught up in the guy's motor that got blown up, and he really just about lost both of his feet. And he endured some like 6 or 7 years he couldn't race. He was rehabbing, and eventually in 2007 he was freed to race. He had kept up with he did the two-seater IndyCar, and he met the HP Hewlett Packard head guy, and they struck up a relationship, and they put a deal together. So Davey, if he wanted to race again, he had to pay off the insurance company because he had gotten paid because he was disabled. They would let him run the two-seater, but he wasn't allowed to race. And when he put the HP deal together, there was enough money there that he could pay the insurance company off, and he went back. His actual first race back from his devastating leg injuries was the Indy 500.
That's awesome.
And then that was in 2007. And I had been putting a super modified together in case I did it with Otto Siddeley, and in case Davey had gotten well enough to race again, I wanted to have a car for him, a good car available for him to come run Classic. Davey and I had been coming back and running the Classic for quite a few years. We'd find one-off deals with Mike Muldoon and different teams that we'd make deals with and come run Classic, and he actually won it. I think it was in '98. He ended up winning it with Mike Muldoon, a Michael Muldoon car. And so when he got hurt and I came back, I kind of got off the IndyCar circuit, and the car count was down. And I was doing fairly well in the produce business, so I decided to put the car together. And somehow or another, it just snowballed. I mean, I didn't have any intentions of running weekly. I had no clue what I was getting into. But somehow or another, we started a weekly deal, and it's been going now. I think this would be Otto and I's 19th year together.
Wow, that's cool. That's a neat story.
It's funny, Frank, because I was putting the deal together with Otto. He had his own car in 2006, and he really dominated that year. He won a bunch of races, won the championship. I had my eye on him, and I was trying to figure out who to do a second car with so I could have Davey. And so I made a deal with Otto, put the car together for Davey. And then I didn't know Otto that well. It was early in our relationship, and I didn't realize that, he was kind of going to hand in the reins of his team because he just couldn't afford it. It was too expensive, and so he had a good piece. He sold his car, and I'm thinking, geez, now I was hoping he'd run, and we'd run Davey. So I made a deal with Otto. I tell you what, I'm going to pay you to put this car together, and you're going to run it the first race. And after that, we're going to reevaluate. And now, so the funny thing we always go back to is we're on a one-race deal, and this will be our 19th year.
That's usually how it starts.
So every week we keep going and going and going, but it's been a remarkable ride with Otto and his crew, and what a misdirection we took 18 years ago, and it turned out really well.
That is awesome. And then yourself, you got 13 championships, huh? In a Superman?
Yeah, with our team since 2007, we have 9 Oswego championships, 3 of the ISMA MSS Touring Series Top Wing Championships, and then I have a little series that I put together called the Challenge, and this will be our 4th year coming, and we've run it 3 times, and we won that championship one year as well. Yeah, it's awesome. Usually like a 4 or 5 race series, but we have a nice point fund put together, and it's like after the first year, I think it was just 3 top wing shows, but after that, we decided to do some tail wing shows, what they run at Oswego Weekly, and the top wing cars with ISMA MSS travel the circuit with, and so it's kind of like you got to be kind of good at both, to win that championship, and Otto proved himself worthy, and so we got that one too one time.
Yeah, that's neat. That I said throughout the country, the super mods are huge in the northeast of the United States, where you don't see them down here at all. Now you ran one at Homestead. We heard.
Yeah.
And the NASCAR track right at Homestead. How fast were you going in a super mod at Homestead?
That's crazy.
I think Otto took a couple months off. I lived right about 3 miles from the Homestead track doing my produce deal.
Yep.
And Otto and his girlfriend at the time, Karen, they took a couple months off one winter and came down and stayed at my house. And he brought 2 supermodifieds with him, and he worked out in my garage at my house. And he basically had put 2 cars together at my house in Florida. And once we got that wing car together, we decided to just crank it up and see what, just get it going. And I have some buddies that run the track over there, and they said, just go out on the track. So to make a long story short, we went out on the track, and that was the first time that car ran after putting it together from a bare frame. And he went out and had that thing wide open for about 3 or 4 laps. And thank God we didn't have the right gear. And that big top wing was also it cut down on it had a lot of drag. But I think we were running like 175 mile an hour wide open all the way around.
That's awesome.
And oh my God, when he parked that thing, I was so happy.
You imagine if someone just tuned that thing out for that track and had a racer?
It was funny. It was funny because they were testing the Indy Lights cars there. And it was like they were finished for the afternoon or had a lunch break or something. I can't remember. I think they were finishing for the afternoon. And when that big block went out there and come off that corner wide ass open, going all the way around into the corners, all the mechanics and drivers and everybody come out from the garages and came out to pit lane to watch that super modified go by. It was pretty cool. Yeah, it was really cool.
I wish people in racing could see them cars live, because like my first time seeing them was I was a kid. It was probably in the 80s. They were on Stock Car Magazine, and I kept seeing them. They were always on Stock Car Magazine. Someone, I can't remember even who it was, and then when I went to Oswego and seen one real live, and I said, I think Oswego is where you got to go see them. Number one with a boilerplate.
Oh, definitely.
The big, the big block, how they just shake the shit out of everything. Yeah. I mean, they're just It's
awesome. I've never seen one, so I'm excited to head up north this summer.
Oh, you guys,
you
need to come up sometime this summer up here, and if you can, and catch a show at Oswego. It's really unique. I tell you, I always go up on the roof and watch the races. I don't stay in the pits with the crew or the driver. When it's time to race, I go upstairs and watch. Right, so. But boy, when you're up there and you're they got some suites in there and the tower where race control is, and if you're up there and if somebody's unfortunate enough to hit that wall coming off of 4 or going into 1 or whatever, I tell you, the whole place just vibrates and shakes. I tell you, it's so unique. I mean, it's really been a fun time, growing up there. I couldn't ask for a better way to grow up, truthfully.
Yeah. I think East Coast carries big block race, and even in the dirt world, like the dirt world has the big block mounts, and we just love them too. And it's funny because just like this super mod that we're putting together in the shop here, I mean, literally everything's going back together, brand new, everything, and it's just all being dissected, putting it together. I always say they're simple, but a lot to them. And
oh my God, yes.
Yeah, and I don't think, I think ours the one, because there's one race you guys carry 60 gallons of methanol.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you got. Capability of carrying. I think it takes, 50 plus for sure.
Yeah, for like a 200, I think, is it the 200 laps?
Yeah, we run 200 laps at the big race at Oswego. It's 200 laps.
Yeah, and then Berlin does a race. Are you guys planning on going to Berlin too? Berlin, Michigan?
Otto and I are kind of winging it week by week this year. I'm having a new car built. Joe Hawksby's building me a new Hawk chassis for Oswego.
Yeah.
And he builds a really good car for Oswego. That's all of my tail wing races. We'll call them tail wing. That's the configuration Oswego runs weekly. All the tail wing cars that I think I got like 51. I think I might have 51 wins at Oswego. I got a couple with the wing car, but 49 of them are all Hawk chassis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've all my winning and all my championships, other than the top wing deal. That's a Bodner chassis, but out of Ohio, Jim Bodner. But all my stuff at Oswego is really thanks to Hawk Chassis and Joey Hawksby. He builds a crazy gas good car for Oswego, and we've been on the cutting edge of a few of them. New designs, and we do this, and then next thing you know, he builds 5 or 10 of them. And then we do that, and he'll build 5 or 10 of them. But it's so much work anymore, and he's got 2 boys now that are running 350 supers. So he really hasn't built a new car in quite a few years. I've been trying to get him to build a new car for me. Oh, maybe the last 3 or 4 years since we got this new package at Oswego, where they raised the rear wing. Used to be at 36 inches height, so it was actually behind the roll cage, and then so we started rolling the roll cage over to try to get more air to the wing, and then eventually they changed the rules. They got the wing up in the air above the roll cage, so people didn't necessarily have to, build a new car, and it evened up the cars a lot, and actually even them up a little too much. We had too much downforce with the first configuration of this new tail wing they put up in the air.
Yeah.
But last year they took away some angle, and they also took away some wicker for the rear wing, and it did definitely help the racing. It took away the downforce that they weren't so stuck, and everybody wasn't just wide open all day long. So you had to finesse them a little bit, and you definitely had to get the car handling. It wasn't as stuck as it had been the last couple of years before that. So, sometimes, well, I'm going to tell you this all the time: downforce ruins racing.
Yeah.
I'm all about mechanical grip.
Yeah.
I'd love to see the wings disappear completely, but
and wheel
that's
just
not
wheel the car. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alec, our producer, does a good job in showing our viewers. He's got pictures of your cars as we're talking, showing the cars with the wings down and then the roof wing, and like I said, even here in the shop, you got no wing, and then even all the dynamic of all of it. But
yeah. And then before they went to the spec rear wing, they used to give you a box, like an imaginary box. I think it was 15 inches by 22 inches. And you could do anything you want in that box. You could only have 3 elements. There was a time you could have more, but when I got involved in 2007, you could only have 3 elements. And so everybody was always like trying to design a 3-element rear wing that fit inside that 15 by 22. It was a lot of fun because you could come up with a different package than the next guy, and it made it fun. We did some crazy stuff. We tried wings, and we put a wing on. We made a frame out of 2x4s and put the wing on the back of a pickup truck, and then put the 2x4s on grain scales and went down the turnpike about 100 miles an hour just to see how much downforce. And
that's the stuff I love.
That was our wind tunnel. A lot of guys, not a lot of guys, but some guys have gone to the wind tunnel and really perfected. They got the numbers to back up what they're doing. We've never been as a team, but we did that. We went down the thruway on grain scales with a wing up in the air behind a pickup truck, and for a while there, it was really working good for us. So it's the guys who put that extra effort into it sometimes that kind of gets the cream rising to the top sometimes.
That's why every team has a pickup truck for aero, because we're all jumping in the back.
Yeah.
I'm not I honestly, I've done the same thing. I was working on a spoiler deal in my Outlaw car, and I went down the road with a 60-inch spoiler, and I'm standing above my Ford Ranger up above the roof, doing the pitch, seeing how much downforce. Right. I always say 90-degree spoiler up, and then you have the deck lid you're dealing with a late model car. I don't know. I felt like I found some speed, and we actually had the track record and won a pile of races. But
awesome.
Yeah. Well, John, hey, a little bit. So you're a farmer, and trying to retire, or
I don't want to say I'm a farmer. I'm a broker.
Broker. Right? Okay.
Farmer, they do all the work. I don't do that.
Obviously, you're working on building race cars. That's funny.
I used to be a farmer. That's when I learned I wanted to be a broker.
Yeah.
So the broker, man, we just the middleman. We make a couple phone calls, and since I was a farmer down there, I knew all the farmers in Homestead, South Florida. So when I became a broker, it was very easy for me to get product because I knew everybody that was growing it. Yeah. And then I'd eventually, grab a couple customers, and at this point, I have 2 customers. They're both in Canada. I sell a lot of beans into Toronto, Canada.
Yep.
And that's all I really do. I just got 2 customers, but they're big. They take probably a couple tractor trailer loads a week.
So now I get it, narcotic. Now I get it, right? He's from South
Yeah.
Florida, down there at Homestead,
Yeah.
south of Miami, bringing
Yeah.
green
Oh, yeah.
beans across.
Up north.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, I mean, I grew up in a lot of that crazy era down there, so I have seen a lot.
I bet.
Fortunately, I just saw it. I didn't get into it too much, but
no, it's yeah, I always had that South Miami Homestead area. Always had like a bad rap for a long time in the '80s. You know?
It was a tough spot, man, down there. Like I remember, before Hurricane Andrew in 1992, nobody really knew where Homestead was. Like, I started going to Indianapolis in 1990, and I met Bill Simpson, and we started becoming pals and everything. He goes, "Where are you from?" I go, "Homestead." "Homestead? Where's that?" Nobody knew where Homestead was. We always used to, my buddy had a good saying. He goes, "Homestead's where the pavement ends and the bad begins." and that was kind of true. It was a wild, wild west down there. But after Hurricane Andrew in 1992, it put Homestead on the map. Everybody knew where Homestead was at that point.
Yeah.
So,
so
it was a neat place to grow up.
Yeah, and then obviously growing up in the business, you knew guys like, from that IndyCar, like Tony Stewart. I mean, we had Tony Stewart on a couple weeks ago, and
I watched that show.
Yeah.
I'm good friends with Tony. I started knowing Tony in like 1990, and he was a broke ass dirt racer. You know what I mean? And pavement racer. I mean, but we palled around a lot back then, and I've been fortunate enough to call him friends now for all, put the numbers together, 30 some years, and he's been a trip to hang with, and he's taken me to a lot of victory lanes, and I remember one time all aspects. I was in Homestead one time, and I was busy in the produce deal in the wintertime. I couldn't really I didn't want to call Tony or anybody and say I need credentials for Daytona, because I didn't know if I could go to Daytona. I was so busy, that time of year in the produce, right? So one year I went up there at the last minute because I had I could get off Saturday and Sunday, and I left Saturday morning Homestead, right? The Busch race started at, let's just say, 1 o'clock. So I wanted to get there around 2 because I didn't want to fight all that traffic. I had to go get my credentials, blah, blah, blah. I went straight to the credentials, straight to the Tony's motorhome. He's leading the Busch race, and I went straight to Victory Lane. and I mean, I left home, Saturday morning, the race was getting ready to start. I went straight to Daytona and got in Victory Lane with Tony, and I mean, we were laughing like hell. And he told me, he called me Banana. He goes, "Banana," he goes, "I tell you what, he goes, you stick with me." He said, "I'll keep you in Victory Lane." And man, has he done that? I mean, I was with him for his first outlaw win, World Outlaws at Oswego, and the IndyCar race, and I was with him when he won his first championship at Homestead. It was funny because he used to stay at my house in Homestead before he started getting the motorhome and all that. Yeah. And he comes to Homestead that first NASCAR race, and I told him, I says, "Tony," because we always had a deal on the IndyCar circuit, like if he won the race, he'd give me the helmet. If I catch him before the race or something, I go, "Hey Tony, if you win, I want the helmet." "Okay, if I win, I'll give you the helmet." Right? Well, he had a 2-lap lead one time and broke. I said, "Son of a gun, I almost got the helmet," right? So he came to Homestead with a NASCAR now, and I go, "If you win the inaugural race at Homestead, what do I get?" He goes, "Johnny," he says, "if I win, I'll give you the gloves." He wins the race. He wins the race and gives me the gloves in Victory Lane.
Wow.
Signs them and everything. I got them now, right? In my office, right? I got them in a case, right?
That's awesome.
So the second year comes, Frank. The second year comes, and same thing. I go, what about if you win this year? What do I get? He goes, "If I win this race, I give you the shoes." He wins the race again and gives me the shoes in Victory Lane. So I got the shoes and the gloves from Tony from his first 2 wins at Homestead, the first 2 races that actually NASCAR ran at Homestead.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been a good relationship.
Yeah.
And
he just won an NHRA race last weekend.
Yeah. I'm so happy for him. And
Awesome.
He got a little baby now, and I was really happy for him, man. Tony's a good guy.
Yeah, awesome. It was super to have him on our show, man. He talked about his family and everything, but yeah, that's all good stuff. Yeah, John, I'll tell you what, this is a good conversation for sure. So open wheel, as far as Indy, you just pretty much do anything in the Indy stuff that you're part of, or just because I always say this.
Now, you mean as far as Indianapolis Speedway or Indianapolis Kart?
Indianapolis Kart.
Like at Indianapolis, since I started racing super modifieds, we always have a race on the day before the 8500. So for the first year or two, like in 2007, 2008, I think our first win was in 2008. So I wasn't here. I was in Indianapolis. And so I think starting in 2009, I started skipping the Indy 500. Because I had done it. I had done it forever. And what I do now is I go out for opening week on the oval. So they're going to run the road course.
Yep.
And they run the road course a week before they open up for the oval. But I'll go out there for opening week on the oval, and I'll stay all week. And then I'll stay through pole weekend. And then come Monday or Tuesday after pole weekend, I'll get out of there and come back home, get ready to race Oswego. But I enjoy it because, I like seeing my friends that I've got to know over the years. I like Chip Ganassi and AJ Foyt, and that first week and pole weekend, it's not as crazy as it is race weekend. Race weekend, you got every Tom, Dick, and Harry sponsor, mother, family, everybody's coming in. It's a race. It's more. They don't have the time to visit and shoot the bull and go to lunch or meet for dinner and stuff like that. So I enjoy my week there, and I get to hang out with my guys that I just, I guess you could say they were my heroes as a kid.
Yeah.
And I get to spend time with them, and I really enjoy it. And then I get out of there, and then I watch it on TV when the 500's on.
Yeah. Well, hey, John, we're cutting time here. We could talk to you all night for short. I'm looking forward to meeting you at Oswego. My son's going to be racing a supermod this year, Kendrick, for the first time. I'm looking forward to that. But we're running out of time. We got to get to a commercial break and into our tech talk for the last 15 minutes of our show. But John, it was enjoyable having you.
Okay, well, same here.
Yeah, and we'll we'll reach out again for sure on Let's Talk Short Track. Especially on your season. What we'll do is get through the season. We'll have you back on because I like having our guests. They know who we are, and then just you're real to our guests. So we enjoyed having you. Yeah. And on the next run, we'll see you. I'm sure we'll see you at Oswego sooner than later.
Oh, that'd be awesome, man. Keep me posted.
You bet. That sounds good.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
you bet.
John.
So, folks, we'll be right back with our commercial break with, and then let's
Tech Talk.
Tech Talk. Yeah.
Yes.
We're gonna do some tires.
Cool. Excited.
We got people that want to know about Tire Stagger, how we do it. So call-ins, and that's what we're going to do.
Awesome.
So after these messages.
The Thormeyer Family Christmas to Remember returns to Cindy Road in Lakeland on Fridays through Sundays, November 29th to December 22nd. Explore the stunning walk-through trees and light displays, enjoy beloved Christmas movies, and indulge in delicious festival foods. Meet the Grinch on Fridays and Santa on Saturdays, and pick out your freshly cut Christmas trees from a large variety. A Thormeyer Family Christmas.
Hey, folks. Assistant Al. So, from high demand this last couple weeks, they said instead of just talking tech doc, they wanted to learn a little bit about tire stagger and how we do tire stagger, right?
That's right, Tim.
So, these are American racers that we raced. I think we have 293 laps on them, and they still practice pretty good.
They still got grip.
Yep. And if a lot of people could see how thick they are, so they're tires. So this is our, I don't know what we call this. This is our studio versus race shop. There's our, yep. And we have our 604 crate motor in the background.
Wilkesboro engine.
Yep. So actually we're going to talk a little bit about tire stagger. And there's 100 different ways to do it, but we're going to talk the way we do it to make it simple for everybody. So as your car comes in off the track, and we don't care about whatever you size your tire, everybody has their way. I mean, I'm the guy that goes into the tire shed, just grabs a chalk mark tire, grabs the left side, right side, 9 times out of 10 I'll take a durometer. I don't really care what the sizes are. I just want to see how soft they are so you don't get something that's sat for 17 years. Of course, a 17-year-old tire is cured. Right, Al?
It's cured.
It's cured. So
you can always soak it anyway.
Yeah, right. If you soak the tires, you're fine. Or
Again, this
cleaner.
Is a tire.
These you don't have to. Yep. So we got the car comes in the racetrack here, and let's just say whatever you're looking for stagger. Let's say in our case we might be looking for 3.5, anywhere from 2.5, depending on the track. We run spools on our cars, and our '57 Chevy, I think we ran 2.5 stagger, and I think our Toyota Prius we were kind of 3.5 just to get speed out of it. So, but if the car comes in and we get your Joe's Racing Products handy dandy tire stagger tape with our Joe's Racing Products, what do you call these, rollers?
Tire roller, not a rotisserie.
Not a rotisserie. That's out back. That's by the tire shed, so we don't have that. So with your handy dandy Joe's tire tape, and there's all these little divots. You're checking your depth of your tire, how much you're wearing. But when you're doing tire stagger, I don't care which one you use. Just use the same one on both tires. So as I come in, I usually put my tire tape on the second one. That's what I use, just because I'm fat and lazy and I don't want to reach in the tire, and it's freaking hot in there.
It's hot.
So I go to the outside, closest to the outside edge, and I put my tire tape on there, and I spin this bad boy around. Actually, these tires are a little worn here. That happens.
3 to 4 times.
Yeah, exactly.
While the tire's hot.
So in this case, you got the little metal clip here, and we always, so like let's say whatever we're looking for the right side tire dimension. So this one's showing me at the 1 mark, because if I look at the metal mark, it's going to say 86, and let's just say just under a quarter. So then you go over here, and it actually says 87 and a quarter, which is 86 and a quarter. So we're just going to say 86 and a quarter. So as our car is in the pits, on the back end's jacked up, that's what we have. So now we're going to go to our left side tire. We'll roll that over here. Now we're on the left side of the car with our Joe's handy dandy, not rotisserie, but roller. So here we go. And you can get these at Joe's Racing Products, and they're out west.
Yeah.
It 3 days to Lakeland, Florida. So with our Joe's tape, we're on the left side of the car on the second divot, right? Because we did the second divot. And we go around. Oh, see, it came off again.
That's consistency.
Yep. And Joe's Racing Products, they need to put a little point on this. So what I usually do is throw them in the grinder, do a little tip bend like that, then put them on there, spin this bad boy around. Now remember, we had 86 and a quarter on the right side. So I always say there's a little cheat. Now, some people don't do this, but this is what I do. So if you go back here, back on the metal, we'll just call it, that's 82 and 7/8. But now you go to the 86 and a quarter that we had just passed, and 86 and a quarter, we'll just call it right at the, if you look at 86 and a quarter, what you had on your right side, and you look at your ruler, and it says 83 and 3/8, or it's 3 3/8, 86. So over here it says 82 and 7/8, and over here it says 8. If you take the 86 and a quarter,
The answer for you.
yeah, right there, pretty much. Okay, my assistant Al, where's your flannel?
Next week.
Next week we'll have the flannel. So that's how we do stagger in our race shop. And next week we'll show you how to soak a tire. With oh no, we're talking RC racing. RC racing, you can soak tires. So that's the simple version. You got to have the Joe's roller and the Joe's stagger tape. Other than that, that's how we do stagger. Well, Al?
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. So next week, what do you
want to talk about next week?
Yeah, you let us know what you want to talk about on Tech Talk or Tech, or even what we're doing.
Yeah, maybe we're doing it wrong.
We probably are. So if you got a better way, I don't want to use other products, but Joe's makes a good tire tape. Joe, we need this to a point and a curve next.
And a stagger master.
So that's it for Tech Talk on Let's Talk Short Track this week. And that's a wrap.
The Thormeyer Family Christmas to Remember returns to Cindy Road in Lakeland on Fridays through Sundays, November 29th to December 22nd. Explore the stunning walk-through trees and light displays, enjoy beloved Christmas movies, and indulge in delicious festival foods. Meet the Grinch on Fridays and Santa on Saturdays, and pick out your freshly cut Christmas trees from a large variety. A Thormeyer Family Christmas.